So,
Yeah.
but they're always really good about that. I think it's one of our communities that really excels, which is nice.
Yeah. Hey, do you know how, oh, probably this cable, maybe?
So you can just join via the Zoom link and.
And then share.
Yeah, and you'll
Yep.
be able to share everything.
Cool.
Just make sure your computer's on mute. And that your volume's all the way down.
Okay.
You sharing capability. Oh. Okay. So you should be able to share everything now.
Who else office is out of here full time, like regularly? Is he here?
Johnny, he's not here today, but he's regularly here.
Yep.
Bob, Debbie. Kessler's office. Just depends on the season,
Yeah.
when we're gonna see them, but they've been really good about it this winter, but summer, I mean, we usually don't see them in summer, just how busy they are and all of that. That's about it. We actually have more people in the north office now, which is.
That's about
So we put Margaret and Stacy up there.
Oh.
And so they run most of the just PC stuff out of there and everything.
Yeah.
And then Corey and Greg Boltman, they office out of there. And then Amanda and Nikki, so we have all the offices booked out of there, which is nice.
Well, that's nice.
Yeah. Let me know if you need the link again, if you delete my email, that's okay.
Hey, Trigger. I'm
Every once in a while, I get that person,
I'm
like,
set.
yeah, I get the link, but I won't lie, I deleted your email, it's fine.
I just get so many emails. It's ridiculous.
I couldn't imagine, so I'll onboard a new agent, and usually I get them within like a week of them actually like being put in our system, and they already have so many emails for me, like we open that KW email, and it's just like, I'm so sorry, I teach them how to make a folder for me,
Right.
and then I just have them throw me in a folder.
Yeah.
So it's just not blocking up their email.
Yep.
But it's just so funny, but you're like, if I stop, then they'll ask me why they're not receiving it. Right. Good. Yeah.
Boom, on.
Awesome. Hopefully we'll start seeing people.
Who cares?
We actually had somebody, so we had a builder come in yesterday who was responsible for our team rally. And just started talking about like partnerships with like new builds and everything, so we plugged your class then and people seem excited, so I'm hoping. You'll at least get people on Zoom and everything.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, plans this weekend.
I feel like I'm doing something on Saturday, I just cannot.
What part of town are you guys in?
We live in Conifer.
Okay.
Yeah, so really, if we do anything, it's usually in Littleton, just because 285 is just a straight shot up. But I think we have an open house plan for Saturday. And then really nothing on Saturday night, and then Sunday, we're gonna, one of our friends just gave birth, so we're gonna go visit them, meet the new baby and everything, pretty excited for them. What about you guys?
There's a big dance competition all day Saturday. You know, it's kind of fun. We're like pretty invested in Ralston Valley now. Because our kids are there, so Ralston Valley's football team plays for state tomorrow night.
Oh, cool.
So they're playing at the NAC, so we'll watch that game.
I went to Devlin,
Okay.
and I don't know if you're familiar
Yeah.
with it, it's a North school, so we were never good at any sports,
Yeah.
ever. And so I think going to football games was like a complete joke, like.
Yeah.
So it's just so funny, because I don't think they ever made it to state or anything like that.
That's what's fun about being part of a good school, is like all that shit is fun.
Yeah.
Like,
I look forward to Donnie being that age and everything, and at the same time, I don't. It's just one of those things where like, I can't wait till, but.
No, it's like, every stage in parenting is fun, so like our boys now are just now getting into sports, so they do basketball two days a week, and they're doing wrestling 2 days a week. In addition to girls like dancing 7 days a week.
We put Donnie in over the summer in baseball and soccer, and we thought he'll work out, not a big deal. Not thinking that all the games would be on Saturday, and we just had so many games overlap, so we thought we did like half and half. And then we just started thinking, we're like, oh my gosh, Eddie's gonna start doing something, whether it's dance or anything, and you're like, how are you gonna juggle this? And I was thinking like my parents, there was 5 of us, so right in the realm of you where you're like, we have all the stuff. And I'm like, yeah, I remember like my parents just sometimes had to drop me off and go to a different one, and then I was next weekend, or just one of those things, you just have to balance it.
Your request for the meeting is now still the time for that. Absolutely. None of us.
Hey guys, I don't know if you guys can hear me or not. I don't know if somebody can just give me like a thumbs up. Got it. Cool. Thanks, Lee. Hey, we'll get started here in just a few minutes. And hopefully provide you guys some value for what the new home market looks like. All right, well, I'll get started here, guys. We'll see if people jump on or whatnot. But my name is Ryan Heckenberg. I am going to be just talking about the new home constructions, the process of it, some of the benefits that our market can experience through new home construction with incentives that's happening with our kind of difficult market situation with higher rates. There's a lot of builders right now that are anxious to get rid of inventory, and with that, they're offering rate buy downs. They're offering agent commissions, 3% co-op fees, which had kind of been taken away for a little bit, as well as builders are throwing in base finishes and just different upgrades that can be a benefit to somebody in this market. So again, I'm Ryan Heckenberg. brief background on myself. I'm an Arvada native. I started my first real career with a residential home builder here in Arvada. I worked with them for 11 years. I was a part of building over 1,100 units with that builder. From there, the market started to take a turn, and I had to jump ship from residential construction because the market was dipping in about 2008. So I went and worked for a large mechanical contractor. I was with them for 5 years doing various things, but I worked on IKEA. We did Slayer's Vale. We did a bunch of medical offices, a bunch of schools, a bunch of airports. A lot of fun time in my career because we just worked on some really great projects. Through that time, I also got my real estate license. I did at-home testing in the basement, just reading books, and then tested with the intent to at some point in my career that I would want to become a realtor. But through that time, I was just kind of preparing myself. So I was still working for the mechanical contractor, got my real estate license in 2010. Once that career ended, I went and worked for a large general contractor. With large general contractor, we worked on the turntable studios. We did a bunch of stuff for Denver Housing Authority, did a bunch of low-income housing tax credit type projects, federal money. That's hard work on that kind of construction side, but it was also rewarding. After my time there, I ended up getting my own Class A contractor license. I started my own construction management company that I ran for 3.5 years. So through there, I did a 22 unit boutique apartment just north of City Park on 28th in York. I did a handful of tenant finish type stuff. I did F45s. I did a brewery in Agora, some Geico offices. I was doing some large structural repair, both steel and concrete. Then my kid got really sick, and in between Brittany and my life, it was pretty chaotic. So I decided to shut my construction company down and just join Brittany in real estate full time. So Brittany, the other half of our home group, has been in real estate since like 2000. It's been her only career. And through this, once I closed my construction company, which was end of 2017, we officially started the Heckenberg Group, which this year we converted to the home group. So we have now been the home group, Heckenberg Group, for the past 6 years. So anyways, I definitely have some background in construction, background in residential real estate. I am currently helping a local residential contractor with Marshall Fire rebuilds. So I've contracted 19 homeowners that were affected by the Marshall Fire to rebuild through that process, which has been a pretty rewarding thing as well to help those people. So still definitely actively involved in the real estate side and construction side in a bunch of different facets. So a couple of things we're going to go over today is just looking at what the new home construction looks like. What's the process like? What's the contract? Who controls the process? And just some options and benefits to do and look at new home construction. So a couple of the benefits to look at new construction is we got through maintenance costs. They got sustainable, energy efficient design. Everything is high efficiency. With some builders, it can be customizable. New home warranty is big for a lot of people. You can get a 1-year full home warranty for kind of major dings and scratches and things that may fail in their home in the first year. And traditionally, you have a 7-year structural warranty when you purchase new. If you purchase new from a scrape in somewhere in Denver, in that you buy a house that's fully straight, fully redone, foundation up, it is law that that builder, developer, whoever has to provide a 1-year warranty on that house. A couple other things that can be attractive to renters. You've got floor plans that are designed just to current modern living. Higher resale potential. We'll talk about that in a minute. And better locations. New home subdivisions come in and they're in areas that are kind of the new hot desirable area. So some of the risk is a longer timeline. If you build new, it can be a long process. It can lead to higher costs. You can have limited negotiation power with the builder. We'll talk about all these things. Some builders only offer fewer options. A lot of people see this decision fatigue. where they're getting into it, and just it's too many options for them to choose from. And then there's a lot of added costs when you buy. So when you buy a house, typically you're not getting backyard landscaping, you have to go by the lines. The home layouts are typically a little different than what people move from into, so they're having to buy a bunch of new furniture, that kind of stuff. So why do people decide to look at new construction? This is just a graph of what they look at. A lot of people just prefer new construction. They want limited maintenance. They like the home features, they like the layout, some of them like the construction process. They like location. So these are just kind of all the different things, a lot of benefits to new construction, right? Through the process, though, what you'll find real quick, if you have not gone through the process, is the beginning, searching for homes, searching for neighborhoods is the fun part. Once you get under contract, it's still kind of fun, and then the fatigue sets in. So looking at this, 66% of buyers actually feel some form of regret when they buy a new build. 26% wish they just built a lease. 59% of the people who built felt stressed. We'll talk about that in a minute. Home buyers' top regret about buying the home buying process is conflict over decision making, conflict with spouse about selection of countertops or floorings or pricing options, that kind of stuff. There can be disappointment when you have maybe a level 1 granite spec for the house is the spec. You go into price for level 3 or level 5 granite that's higher quality, and you see the price on it, you can't afford it, so that can be kind of like despite the challenges associated with new home construction, 64% of the people say they would rebuild it as opposed to purchase new construction. 32% would not recommend their builder, which is also no surprise if anybody's ever worked with a contractor of any sort. Contractors, I was just talking to somebody last night, can be up and down, right? And referring contractors can be difficult because if, so my example is, I referred out an electrician. My electrician was a stud. He was meeting people on time. He was a great price. Well, it was site work for him. That got, that created fatigue for him. Maybe he got a little money hungry. Well, now he, who was my primary electrical referral guy, is expensive. He's difficult to get a hold of. And that was some of the feedback that I got from clients that you're referring out. So it's always a shift of finding kind of the best option for our clients out there. So no surprise that when you go through the home buying process, you become frustrated with your builder. 85% of new construction buyers experience some sort of delay. So you go under contract on a new build, 85% chance you will not close on the date that they promised you. How far of a delay? So this is just a graph of what to expect for a delay when you build a new home. So 15% of the time you will not experience a delay. The builder will hit the time frame that they set. Now these time frames are for homes that are new construction, not plans, not spec homes. They're already in process. This is stuff that your buyer goes out. You say, hey, I want to build this house on this lot. So 17% see a month or less. It's something like 36% see a delay from closing of 6 months or more in the process. We've experienced that time and time again. These are some of the things that you can help just kind of keep top of mind when you go under contract. Some of the concerns that are most common for new home construction. People that are kind of nitpicking and pulling apart. So HVAC system issues, safety issues. Safety issues can be like, hey, there needs to be a rail on my patio because when you step off, it's like 30 inches down. Right? It seems unsafe. Now you got to force your builder into putting a rail. Drainage issues, always. Structural problems are a little more down the road. Water leaks, damage, foundation problems, roof problems. All those kind of things happen within the first year, but you buy a house not expecting for these things to go wrong, but as all things, nothing's perfect. So what would be some of the benefits to talk to your clients about an option to look at new purchase? So one of the things we as realtors should be doing for our clients is looking at what the resale value will be. It's easy for our clients to get in and be like, hey, brand new house, new systems, limited work. But, you know, assuming that you're keeping in touch with your client, what's that gonna look like 7 years down the road, 4 years down the road when they decide to sell, right? So you wanna help position them in a position for yourself that's gonna make that house easy to sell, right? So you should be directing them on location, the size and layout. Age of the home is obviously new build, it's attractive for that. Curb appeal on these new homes are just standard, their new homes are just designed to just a little better attractiveness than maybe some of the older homes. Upgrades and finishes is always a decent factor. Upgrades and finishes may not necessarily take into account any appraisal aspect of the value of the house, but it certainly will in the buyer's opinion of choosing that property or a different property that's just spec with the basic upgrade stuff. What can reduce the resale value of the home? So if you're looking at getting a client into a new construction, what are some of the things that you should avoid? Some of the biggest ones is the builder's quality, right? So you saw, I had a buddy that had $1 million house backed up on a great lot, horrible builder, and the quality, literally he was in that house for like 6 months, couldn't get a hold of the warranty department, he literally had cabinets off of his, off of the kitchen, he had large gaps in his flooring, he'd been on his warranty department from the time of its closing, he was just not getting the response, right? So if he gets fatigued and he said, I'm out of here, I'm going to sell, that's going to be hard for us to get into that house with those same issues. I mean, cabinets with poor quality, when there's gaps, when there's scratches in the flooring, when there's mix match, hardware, that kind of stuff. So, location on the home. So that's our job as agents to make sure that we can forecast best that we can what is going to be the new and upcoming home. A lot of these builders come in, they make these neighborhoods look ultra attractive, houses look great, they're offering good incentives. Our buyers get super excited because of the house they can afford. Well, if it's in an area that just doesn't have opportunity for growth around it, we'll see that over time. The excitement in that community will dip down, and as a result, we'll see home prices fall. And just make sure they're getting a home that isn't, it's not going to be conducive for resale. If it's too chopped up, if it's too specific for one personality. This is just a real general overview of what the building process looks like. It's a long process. The average build time for a custom home. So if you go out and you get a custom builder, you say, hey, let's work together on the build, you know, on the design build. Expect anywhere from 16 to 20 months for that process to take. If you get with a production builder is currently building homes anywhere from 8 to 10 months. Now that's construction. I would assume another 1 to 3 months on top of that to deal with contracts, pricing changes, that kind of stuff. So the whole process, if you really go from a group start, I would anticipate a year to a year and a half, depending on what builder you get to. But through this process, just real briefly, you know, the builder, you're showing homes, you're showing neighborhoods to your clients. They say, hey, we love this neighborhood. You talk with the sales rep, you get pre-approved. You look at the designs, the floor plans. They give you a full pricing on it. Hey, everything's great. Now you get to the contract table. We'll talk about that now. So contracts executed, builders moving on the building permit. They're getting with you to do exterior selections for brick, siding, roofing, that kind of stuff. That's the point where you get your first walkthrough with the builder, where you're going to do a pre-construction walk. We'll talk about that in a minute. So the pre-construction walk is going to be before they put a shovel in the ground. They're going to make sure, hey, this is the floor plan, this is the handing, this is the options, everything looks good, right? So go through the process, and they'll do interior selections as the buyer. Construction team is going to continue on the foundation, the framing, the roofing, all the you know, the electrical and HVAC system, that kind of stuff. The next walk you guys will do with the builder is going to be a pre-drywall. That pre-drywall is immensely important for you as an agent and your buyers to lock the unit, make sure lights are centered where you want them, make sure that any custom changes you added are included. Because once that rock goes up, it's going to be incredibly difficult to have the builder go in and change. So do a good, thorough job. Make sure that everything is in walls that it's supposed to be. So from there, it's just kind of easy coasting from a buyer's perspective. They just watch the house get finished up, insulation, interior finishes, and to the point where you get to your final walk. When you get to the final walk, that's a piece where it's our final walk on a traditional resale. You're gonna walk it with the builder, with the warranty department. They're gonna talk to you about how the warranty is gonna work. They're gonna say, hey, great, look at everything, it looks good. You'll create a punch list at that time. Warranty punch list is what it's gonna be, because that list that we created, that walk will 99% not be complete by the time you actually clears, right? So say you get a punch list and there's 100, 200 days on that list. Your buyer's incredibly frustrated. You're like, this house, fit and finish is just not there. It's not what I was promised. It's not what I expected. If that builder has the certificate of occupancy in place and the county signed off saying, hey, you can move in, congratulations. The builder and the builder's contract is going to force you to close regardless of what punch list items you have. So we'll talk about that. I got a brief excerpt of a contract for us. But that's going to be a difficult conversation with you, with your buyers, to confirm, hey, we did our due diligence, the builder is going to come through, they've got a good reputation, the warranty department's going to do what they say they're going to do, so on and so forth. That's really a big part of where the fatigue comes from a buyer not having a great experience with the purchase. So what's your goal in a new construction home, right? You're gonna see all these great, beautiful houses. It's gonna look like good opportunities. They're paying a lot. They're offering your buyers a pretty decent incentive. So many agents have the option in a new construction to virtually just pass their client off onto the sales team. As long as they're there for the first visit, they sign their name on a piece of paper. So many agents just back off and say, hey, call me in 12 months when it's done and I'll show up for closing and collect my check. I think it's our role in this to be more responsible, to be more engaging with the builder for our clients. So some of the things you should be looking at is helping your clients select the prime remaining lot selection. Try and help them just pick one of the best available lots. One of the biggest appreciation that we'll see in a new build is location. Try and get the best lot on a corner, backing up to open space, one of the larger lots. This is something that provides a little more value. Consult on financing options. The builder is going to say, hey, use my affiliated business partner, who is this lender. They're going to offer you $30,000 in a basement finish or at the design center. You're not going to beat that. Well, I always have my clients go out and still price shop against our preferred lenders to make sure, is our lender offering a better rate? Can they offer a better buy down? And we do that cost analysis to say, hey, you are getting $30,000 in builder upgrades here, but over time, we're going to be able to save you $300 a month in the mortgage payment to go with our preferred lender. So it doesn't always work out that way, but I wouldn't always just assume that using the builder's lender is your only option. You may lose some of your incentive that the builder is offering to use their lender, but the cost can weigh itself out. So again, just helping your client look for location, do your research on builder reputation, recommend the appropriate upgrades and modifications, make sure that they don't go overboard, overspending or underspending in my house. You got to negotiate for your client. The majority of builders don't offer refrigerators, backyard landscaping, blinds, that kind of stuff. All that stuff, especially in our market, can be negotiable. So you should be negotiating for a full package, a full appliance package, for an upgraded appliance package. You should be trying to negotiate a waived lot premium. So those are the things you can do kind of before contract, after contract. It's going to be your responsibility to attend a pre-construction meeting, make sure everything is as per contract, it's the right model, it's the right grading, it's the right location. Attend a pre-drywall inspection, compare to any custom changes that they've done. And then on the last one, the new home demonstration, that's going to be a big piece because a lot of builders, the fit and finish won't be where your buyers expected, and you're not going to have a big option to do anything with it. If you like Thrive, you just recently had a client close with Thrive, and their closing was amazing. They Their team was on it, our punch list was minimal, and they addressed everything that we needed prior to using, so. I'm just gonna briefly go over a few things in a builder contract. If you guys have never seen one, we do not use a Colorado buy-sell contract. You always use the builder contract. The builder's contract is always favorable towards the builder, it protects them in every way, shape and form. And a couple of things, I just wanna point out a few things that emphasize that builder contract, one, will never be amended. Builders never offered to amend any verbiage in it. And you just have to be accepting to it and know how to best work with it. So I'm gonna pull this up real quick, see if it works. So this is a contract from Taylor Morrison. I'm just gonna go through, this is a deal we did like a year or two ago, something like that. A couple of things. So this is a Taylor Morrison contract. So part of it, you just want to make sure that they're identifying the correct model, right elevation if you get it, this swing, the garage handing, I'll talk about that in a minute. Typically your commission, your co-op fee, even at 3% of whatever they're offering you, is generally only based off of a base price. So if your base price is $750 and your client's going to add 200,000 in upgrades, they're well over $1 million at the end of the day. Generally your co-op fee will only be based off of base price. On the contract, make sure that you are listed as the buyer's real estate agent. Some builders get very antsy in particular about making sure you are with your client at the first viewing on site. Sometimes you can get good sales reps that will allow you to call in and just say, hey, I need your client stop by and add to the contract, or they might add you after the fact. But the safest bet is just attend with your clients at the new home sales site first visit. So make sure that your name's put in there. Purchase price, I won't get into that. To talk about the purchase price is generally they go up because you're gonna add options, not upgrades based off the contract. Affiliated lenders, you're going to be signing a lot of affiliated business agreements, arrangements, that kind of stuff that the builder has established in the process. Loan approval is virtually saying that as the buyer, all of the responsibility is on you to coordinate with the builder on process and loan details and all that stuff. And virtually this contract is going to state that your buyer is in default, like every situation, if you want all of this to it. So not to scare you, just to be aware of it. So termination of the conditional loan approval is for this contract the date that all deposit funds are no longer refundable to the buyer. Buyer's obligation to notify seller. So this contract says that on all things contract related, we must notify the buyer within 3 days. We must notify the builder within 3 days. The seller shall have no obligation to delay the closing. That comes up again multiple times.
Hey, Brian, maybe for you. Are you sharing that contract on your screen right now? Because we can't see it.
Oh, shit. Is it? Sorry. Let me share it. I thought it showed up. I am, so thanks. Is that showing?
It is, yes, thank you.
Okay. I'm just, you didn't miss much. I'm just kind of scrolling through this contract. So let me just start. I'll just show you the few pieces real quick. So this is the part that talks about base price. Typically you're only paid off the base price of the commission. This is all contracts are going to say as the builder who's representing you as the buyer. Make sure your name is put in that contract at time of contract. Otherwise, it's going to be difficult to get paid. Purchase price, again, this is a piece that just talks about your contract price is going to go up based on options you select. Again, these are non-Colorado commission approved forms. These builders can write into the contract virtually whatever they or their attorneys creatively come up with if they want. Affiliated letter, they're gonna sign off on it. Again, if you or your buyer has any contest to anything in this contract, the builder's just gonna say, too bad, take it or leave it. Again, conditional loan approval. This is a piece where it talks about pass the conditional loan approval, all of your funds become non-refundable. Termination of contingency, same thing. Buyer's obligation to notify seller within 3 days of buyer's receipt of whatever that may be. Changes in closing agent, seller shall have the builder shall have no obligation to delay closing based on buyer delay. So if for any reason your buyer cannot close, the seller is going to force you to close, or they'll try to. And that gets talked about again down the road. Options and upgrades, the builder reserves the right to virtually not offer you any options to build this house. They may, but they don't have any obligation to do that. It talks about buyer must select all options within 30 days of the purchase agreement. So they're putting timeframes on you and your buyer's obligation for this contract. Any changes that you add or upgrade for the house, one, if the builder allows it, is most likely going to charge you an additional non-refundable deposit. So if your kind of contract deposit was $15,000, you go in and add $70,000 more in upgrades, they're probably going to collect 20% of that, and that money will go into your deposit and is also non-refundable. So again, options deposits are non-refundable for any reason other than seller default, and the seller can't default for this contract, really. Seller's inability to obtain options. If you don't make decisions within the time frame, the builder is just going to proceed forward with contract, and you will forego any of those options that you want to select, and it won't be the builder's default, it will be buyer's default. This is a crazy one to me. The seller, which is the builder, is not a buyer's contractor. The buyer purchasing the property is a completed property, and the seller/builder is not acting as the contractor for the buyer in the construction of the home, which is crazy because if you go and do a dirt start hiring a builder to build a house for you, they're saying, oh, we're not a contractor. You're going to buy a house when it's finished. You're just going to help us make selections to get the house back. This is also a crazy one. Time frame of construction of the home. The only guarantee the builder is making to your buyer is here: seller shall complete the home no later than 2 years after the purchase agreement date. So the seller virtually cannot be in default unless they go 2 years and a day over purchase contract agreement date, which is just mind-blowing because they have all up until that time to give your buyer no remedy for damages. Seller will use all reasonable efforts to keep buyer informed of construction schedule. So virtually that says, hey, I'll send you an email, I'll send you a text, and to us, that's a reasonable effort of us communicating with you. Seller is not required to sign any inspection list. So as a buyer, a lot of builders won't allow, nor will any of them take into account a third-party inspector's inspection report, right? So you go hire your third-party best inspector. He's a great guy. He identifies a ton of things. The builder's not going to do anything with it, and you have no recourse if there's something wrong. And I'll talk about what a builder's responsibility is to address concerns in the property here. Because of unpredictable nature of construction, it's not possible to estimate a closing date with accuracy. If your buyer delays closing for any reason, seller delays the builder's closing, the builder will charge your buyer 1% of the total purchase price per day, not to exceed $1,000. So in this exact contract that we had, it was down in Parker. Our buyers had substantial things that weren't fixed. They had this huge glass wall that still had to go in. It was an interior glass wall for an office. They had a bunch of repairs to still do, but they had their certificate of occupancy and they forced our buyer into closing. And it was all based on this contract. There was nothing we could do about it. Now, we're 2 years down the road, everything's fine. The builder did come through with everything they said they were gonna do, but it's a very stressful process that you gotta help your client through. Buyer's default, and there's really no recourse to buyer's default. It's just saying that the liquidated damages that the builder will obtain is going to be your security deposit, your deposit down, and that's going to be liquidated damages should your buyer default, which there's 100 reasons your buyer can default. Seller default, if you go in and you say, hey, builder, you grossly were negligent in these areas. Once you give them notice, written notice, the seller, the builder shall have 45 days from the receipt of such notice for cure and default. So we have to give the builder 3 days notice. Once we give the builder notice, they have 45 days to address it. A lot of this other stuff is just kind of bill language. The highlighted stuff is really the most important stuff. Commission fee, broker representation, that talks about you needing to be there, you need to represent the buyer. And then just finishing out the contract, you're going to have all the options that they select. You're going to have a bunch of addendums, neighborhood addendums that say, hey, you're in the metro district. Here's your incentive addendum. So this is for the buyer. So when we sold this house, there were a couple of different options. One, because we used the builder's lender, the lender gave us like a $35,000 credit. And the builder gave us an additional $3,500 to use towards closing costs. So we won't get an addendum for the lender's side of the business because it's unrelated to the contract. That's the financing side, but the builder gave us a $3,500 incentive that went towards closing costs. So that was the piece of the incentive that we needed in the contract here. Again, just general disclosures. This is a lot like the buyer addendum that we have. The buyer advisory on our buy-sell Colorado contracts. So lots of areas. I mean, there's more information in here that's, you know, just useful to know to best represent your buyer through this transaction, but that doesn't make sense to talk about here. So let's see if I can get back to sharing the other screen. Let's see. All right, so anyways, sorry about that. These are the builder contracts. Mainly going to protect the builder in all situations. Make sure that you're listed for the agent co-op piece. Make sure you're there for the first visit on the site. Read the contract, understand the dates at which the buyer's deposit is going to be at risk of not being returned. In general, you got to be very timely to respond to the builder. They've got roughly 45 days for notice to cure. Many of the option selections will require non-refundable deposits. Builders are not going to promise a completion date. Builders will not entertain third-party inspection reports at time of closing. And it just ensured that whatever was promised through the sales team is listed, identified in the contract. A couple other things to talk about once you get through contract and you're starting construction of the house. Clients are always wondering, hey, is my garage going to be left or right? Make sure you have those conversations because that throws people off in layout of the home. This gets a little more detail if you're able to kind of go through it, but it is helpful for clients. Look at the site plan. If you don't know, ask your superintendent or your sales rep, how steep is my driveway going to be? How many stairs are there going to be going into the house? Are there going to be retaining walls? Are there going to be drainage swales going through it? How high is my backyard patio going to be off of the property? So to the right, that's just a general site plan. You're going to see, it's hard to see here. That's got grading and drainage on it. The hatch line in the back was this giant retaining wall that they had to do. And even with that retaining wall, they still have like an 18% slope in their backyard. Their driveway was at a 10% slope. And those are substantial things to understand because those are aggressive slopes, right? So it's always better to have those conversations as early as possible in the process. A couple other things is your responsibility is to ensure what appliances are included. Again, washer and dryer, refrigerators, frequently are not included. Appliances, backyard landscaping is not included. What kind of fencing is included? What's the standard size for deck patios, the radon system, what's going on with solar panels. And then a big one is, again, for your responsibility as an agent, is to identify the taxing district for these properties and what the mill levy is. Builders are very tricky with and sneaky about wanting to say, oh, hey, your taxes, well, one, they won't address taxes. They won't tell you what your yearly property tax is going to be on it because they haven't been assessed. So it is easy and not necessarily a lie that they say, we don't know what your taxes are going to be because they don't know, but it can be calculated. And you calculate that based off the mill levy and the expected property value that the county is going to assess within 2 years after construction. So it happens a lot on new builds. Your first year, your tax basis on a property, if you're in a metro district, maybe your tax on $1 million house is $7,000 a year, right? And you're like, yeah, that's reasonable. Well, 2 years later, it's all reassessed and values are correctly addressed through the county. Well, this just happens. So many people's tax bases go from 7,000 a year to 12 to 14,000 a year. And it solely is because it takes the county assessor a little bit to kind of catch up to the current tax basis of these homes. So go get a loan, you'll say, hey, your tax basis might be 7,000 a year. Make sure you're having those conversations, basing your expected tax basis off of the mill levy for your subdivision environment. Again, just a few other areas of attention. I think we're doing this. So anyways, kind of doom and gloom. It really isn't doom and gloom because I am a huge proponent of new builds. I think they have a tremendous value. And specifically in Northern Nevada, we have just under 900 new builds coming to market in just the Candelas area alone. So Taylor Morrison's bringing Trailstone, they have 678 units coming in. Whisper Village is by Lennar. There's 108 townhomes coming in. Townhomes by TriPoint are under construction. Those are great units. There's 37 units going in there. TriPoint has a proposed subdivision. It's going to be 72 units plus above ground commercial and retail going in there. So between all that, that's 900 homes in that area. And that's not even all of it, right? So that's just a capture of it. But for us as agents, I mean, there's 900 new home site potentials that if you're in the mix, you're in relationship with the sales agents, you're in the mix of knowing what incentives are being offered, what maybe quick move-in homes are available, and having conversations with buyers that maybe new home's not in their near, right? Maybe they want a different location. There's a lot of benefits to this. And one of them is Taylor Morrison, just as another example, they're offering these rates on purchases. So 30-year conventional fixed first year 3%, second year 4%, third year 5%, and ongoing, and it's 6% rate. That's not a buy down rate. That you can get with the builder paying you a 3% co-op fee. You're getting your client a tremendous interest rate using their lender. And on top of that, we can negotiate discounts on lot premiums. We can negotiate a full or upgraded appliance package or kitchen upgrades or design center credits. So there is actually a really big benefit right now if you have buyers that you can talk into new builds, even with these subdivisions coming in or all throughout town. That list on the right are local production builders. They are all building around town. They all offer different incentives. Challenger Homes is one that's building a little up north. They're a builder that came from Colorado Springs, but they're offering phenomenal discounts for buyers. Kind of a entry level, they're $400,000 to $600,000 homes, but they're offering great incentives for people that can get their homes because new home inventory as resale is just sitting, but it's costing builders a substantial amount of money. So they're trying to offload these properties best they can. Some of the new residential construction that I have, Trellis and Whisper Creek, those are new subdivisions. They're offering some good incentives, but not as good of incentives as subdivisions that have been sitting. They just start moving. But anyways, let's see. So yeah, so also builders are offering great rate locks with free float down. Float down is, say you lock in at a 7% interest rate today, and a year from now rates go down, the affiliated builders lender will relock at the lower rate for free. So they're trying to do everything they can to incentivize getting these new homes sold. Also, some additional areas to get good information is KW New Home. I actually don't know if it's a new home community, if it's like a KW sponsored community. It used to be, but this is a group within KW that is offering good services. Sorry, I need to reshare this. There we go. So this is New Homes. It's powered by Legacy International. So again, I don't know if it's a true KW community, but it is a KW sponsored community of sorts. Anyways, this group has great education and training. They've got virtual communities. They've got people you can bounce things, ideas off to, suggestions off. They've got marketing campaigns for new home sales, trainings. They just got a different group that's tailored towards being expert at new home communities, which I think in this industry and any industry is something that we need to keep as a piece of our leverage for our clients. So anyways, the KW community, check those out. It's newhomeslegacy.com. They've also got a Facebook page. They've got an ongoing monthly support or one-time kind of training fee. And I think that's it. So this is the last thing I'll talk about because I did this in the class a while ago. For a while, there were developers throughout Denver. They go out and they scrape and they do all these lots. And I have so many people like, man, these people must be making so much money because they buy this lot for $300,000 and then they're selling it for $1.5 million, whatever it may be. And actually, like profits in a new scrape community in a that type of a product, there are profits there, but in my opinion, it's heavily risk adverse. Right? So this is just an example. This is old, so these prices have gone up. But this is a new family construction. Say you go find a lot in Denver, you want to scrape it, build a lot, and have a infill builder build a house for you. And the average cost for a higher general contracting fee is anywhere from $190 to $220 per square foot of the house, plus soft costs. So you got permits, tap fees, utilities, storage fees. So if you go and you ask the builder, hey, build me a 2,600 square foot house in Denver, We're going on the low end at $190 a square foot. That cost is $500,000. Then you're paying for design fees of $25,000, you pay for tap fees, water, sewer, $30,000. You bought your land at $250, which nobody's really picking up those lots at $250 anymore. You got holding fees for financing of $18,000, so your build cost for this 2,600 square foot house, you're into it for $817,000. When I ran this scenario, you can resell that home for $1 million. You back out your 817 that you have into it, plus your agent commission fees on it, and that developer investor was walking away with maybe $128,000 in profit. Now, with that, when you do a new home, you have to provide a 1-year warranty. So then out of that 128, you better be putting some money aside, knowing that that buyer is going to be calling you and asking for you to come fix some things, and that's just going to take out of your bottom line as well. But that was just kind of a random thing. But anyways, I'm a huge proponent of new builds. I think be familiar with neighborhoods, be familiar with product types, have that in the back pocket. Not all new home communities pop up in your buyer searches. So if you can identify a certain product type that you could introduce to your clients, or maybe talk your clients into about the benefits of getting into a new home, I think that's huge. I bring up the new residential construction. The biggest area of appreciation that you can see in a new home construction site is location. Get in early, get some of the best lots. You may not get the best incentives, but you'll get the highest appreciation over time for those properties. And I am a huge proponent of that. We've seen it time and time again that the best lots in a subdivision will always see the biggest appreciation. So if you do it right, if you do some, if you research, you do your due diligence, you create some relationships, you can create some really good opportunities for your clients. So that's all I had. I don't know if anybody has any questions, but that's all I got.
Hey, Ryan, so you went over a lot of stuff, man. And I guess my question would be for our newer agents on this call, what would you say would be important and maybe more of like a wow factor? Like if I were to know this and be able to have a conversation with my client, what would help me look like the real estate economist of choice? Like one of the cool things that you just showed was you actually took the plat map and you were showing them about the grading and some different things, which you don't learn that in real estate school. And honestly, like I don't even know if most people on this call know how to read one of these. But like, what would you say out of all the things that you showed today would be something that we should actually take home and actually implement into our business?
What I found helpful for our business is just taking an hour of your time to research new home communities. Just know what product types are out there so that they can educate and accurately kind of talk about options. So again, so many new home communities don't pop up. So if you got a buyer looking for a $700,000 house in a certain area with a certain bed bath count, that generally may not pop up as a new home community. You as an agent are going to have to be savvy enough to know that, hey, this community, this product exists here. Hey, maybe it's a little outlier of the neighborhood you want, but man, they're offering great incentives. So I think just knowing the different product types. So if you have a client that is looking for something specific, just take the time, look it up to see if any builders are offering that type of product that may have flown under the radar from anybody identifying it. I think once you identify a neighborhood that your buyer would be interested in, just call the sales rep. Generally, they're great people. They're easy to work with. Sometimes when they get to their back office that they become a little more difficult, but the salespeople's job is to create a deal for you and allow them to partner with you to kind of sell or pitch a product or a neighborhood, that kind of thing. So a lot of this stuff, like the grading and all that, that is a little higher level detail, but I only bring it up so at least the agents know to ask about it. They don't need to be the expert in it. They can just ask the superintendent or the sales rep, hey, can you explain this to me? Can we walk the lot? How steep is my backyard going to be? I don't know what this means, but can you interpret what this site plan means to us, right? How tall is this retaining wall going to be? Are there going to be any railings coming off of my porch, how steep's the driveway gonna be, that kind of stuff. I think just knowing questions to ask, the sales team will be able to answer that and interpret it for you.
No, I like that, right? So I think the pro tip that I just heard was you don't need to be the expert, but you get your hands on this site map right here and actually just ask them to walk it with you and to show you where everything's going to be so that your client understands exactly where something might be showing up in their property that they can't actually visualize right now because we're just looking at a pile of dirt. And so now we can actually go through, have them walk us, and then our clients can actually go kind of see where their house is going to lay out on this piece of land.
Yep.
Awesome, man. Thank you.
Yeah, no worries. Well, I'm available if anything, if anybody has any questions, I'm an open book. If you guys have additional questions, if you want a copy of any of this stuff, I'm happy to share it. Happy to give kind of more cliff note version of just kind of the top things that people should be looking at, asking when you go visit a new home site. But I really do believe that there's opportunity there for buyers. So.
And it looks like Anita just took herself off mute. Anita, do you have anything?
Yeah, I had a quick question, Ryan. You know, obviously, as you mentioned, the builder contracts are really skewed towards the builder. I'm just wondering, like, how in depth you guys go with your clients on a new build contract in pointing these things out without, you know, scaring them, I guess.
Well, that's a great question, right? And for us, it's been like this. So my advice to you is, because you can't absolutely scare a buyer through this contract. And I think our role as agents to represent and get paid a good commission and represent our buyer well through this process is to take the time ourselves, read through the contract and just know the pitfalls and the risks of it, but also knowing with confidence that you're doing your due diligence that, hey, we've researched this builder, we know that they're reputable, we know we're gonna have issues, and we're gonna get a plan around how we're gonna work around warranty issues, communication issues. We're gonna know the right people in place to talk to if something goes south. I was kind of doom and gloom with you guys. I believe on this. I would never do that with my buyer. I would just summarize it with my buyer, kind of black and white. Hey guys, once we sign this contract and we get house loan approval, your money is going to be hard and you're virtually not going to be able to get it back out. So we make sure our financing is in place so that we're not making errors signing contracts too early ahead of time that we shouldn't be. And also doom and gloom, I'm like, builders will never offer you to get out of them, that kind of stuff. In general, I think that's the best approach to take. But also knowing builders are not like this big evil people. And a lot of the times they will work with you, they will reimburse your money, the early stuff, it just kind of depends where you're at through the construction. If the house has a foundation and you've made a bunch of changes to it and you back out of it, they're gonna hold that money because now they're at risk of not being able to resell that house on that lot with those options. That's why they keep that. But if you're still in contract phase, they don't put a shovel in the ground, no real cost paid out by them, most likely you can fight to get your earnest money deposit back. Now for the piece of the contract, I would just go through with your clients and just let them know this is very builder friendly, not like a Colorado contract buy sell where it's buyer friendly. But all these homes that are selling, there's it should just, I don't know what I'm trying to say. It shouldn't be doom and gloom. It should just be educated with a plan in place to protect yourself. So, but again, like I said, I'm happy to kind of share this. I can kind of recap some of this stuff, but it can be a fun process. And I think I'm a big proponent of that is our part in this piece to ensure it remain as enjoyable with everybody as it can, right? Provide confidence to your buyers that you know how the process goes, provide confidence that you're going to provide guidance and advice to them that will be rewarding for their time living in the house as well as when they decide to move on.
Awesome. Good stuff. Good info, Ryan.
All right, well, take care, everybody. Enjoy your week and reach out if you have any questions.
Thank you, Ryan.
Yeah. I don't know what that is. I don't know if I don't know what that. No idea.
On. That has to be pretty fun.
I didn't think they set hers up that way though.
Oh, because I saw your face on yours. And then you were obviously talking through the avenues. Oh, you just killed it off. Was that you? Did you?
I think it was my computer.
Okay, so you sounded on twice.
I must have, yeah.
No, I think that'd be neat. Like, I don't think the agents understand, like, even just the site map that you pulled up. Just the little silly scout, I think it is.
Yeah.
Just makes them look like a hero. Clients.
Right. Yeah, I can just do like a quick. Page, so there's. Here we go to the whole.
Yeah, here's the comparables. Yeah. It was a good plus.
Yeah. Sure.
I just want faces to start and they all went black. That's the worst part. That's not the good part. And you're just like, oh Jesus. And you're just like, did I lose them? Or are they just?
I did, why, I can't play again, I don't. Attend it. I'm like. There's a time where we'll talk about now, and then we tell it, and then talk about the stuff, and then on the so then we can do yeah, we trim up that shoulder.
Yeah, and I don't know those are the damn ones to get the and you do the.
These metals, they're either like, pretty sure, and I didn't register for our people this time, they have to register. Usually I register correctly and I was kind of fiddling and then I had like 100. It's funny, but then people want.
Yeah, I mean, I did it, it's like when I do that, and it's like, and. It's kind of an experience.
Like I know like Lala, so was weird, her camera was off, her camera was on, and she always.
Yeah, watch her.
Always. You know, like years, that she would leave a car, or she would be working, like, you know, they're where the falls.
Like, or something, like walking and like this. You're like. Thank you. I posted handicap when I go on my laptop. It's there.
good there, but at home, I actually have a laptop. Yeah, and it's like a little screen, I have a big screen at home, and then the keyboard. I wonder if yeah, no, guys, enjoy your, next week. Well, see ya.